at all times. And Paladin's going to be creeping. He's not going to get to level 3, no, he's not going to make it. It's going to be short by like an Acolyte kill. That's too bad. So you'll notice the two things that he's picking up. He's not getting more knights because he's pretty good on those. He's picking up mortar teams and a little bit of anti-air and some piercing damage. Basically, he knows there's going to be Master Banshees around, and the likelihood of Destro showing up is pretty high, especially because he's getting some more stuff from his slaughterhouse, and it's not likely that he's going to get abominations. Although he could be getting a disease cloud upgrade. You never know. But he will be able to see, oh look, a statue. Eventually, it will pop. And he'll go, oh, well then, there will probably be destroyers. Oh, he doesn't have any statues right now. I thought he had more than this. I'm jumping ahead of the game. Eventually he does go destroyers though. So you sort of want to macro accordingly. If he only gets 2 statues, chances are he's not going to get destroyers, and he's probably just going to try and out-attrition you with the statues. If he does get 3, then you're probably in trouble for destroyers, so you want to get some flying machines. At this point, it's just a waiting game, and unfortunately it happens a lot in this matchup, and it's very rare that you'll actually get a close game where no one plays this little waiting game. So, yeah. Night End's going to also do this whole, I'm going to wait till you hit high upkeep to push you. And I don't know why Thorzane broke upkeep. I guess it's because he saw, well, shit, he's leaving his base. So now he has to make a rash decision, and he's going to run back to his main and try and not get owned. Does he run back? He does run back to his main eventually, but he basically wants to build up enough of an army to fend off the destroyers. So he goes, crap destroyers, I need to mass flying machines immediately and buy as much time as possible. He is willing to risk the expo because he is in a high upkeep, so he's obviously got the food advantage. But basically the expo will buy him time, but unfortunately for him that doesn't work out. So he's going to get pushed. Now, one thing to be aware of is that if you do run back to your base and you're still in shitty position, you pretty much haven't done anything. The reason he's running back to his base is because the Undead player is going, well, do I want to fight this at his base where a militia could pop out and he has the Arcane Tower? So here's one thing I actually didn't know. If something's being possessed, you can staff it. I thought that wasn't possible, but apparently it is. So what he's doing in this battle is basically, well, your DK's out front, so I'm going to nuke it. And I'm basically going to focus fire the crap out of your Banshee with my mortar teams. So, it's pretty quick and effective micro, and you just attack move the knights. I mean, they're not really doing much. Or you just keep them in the same, I guess he kept them in the same control group as the one right-clicking his DK. So, basically when you're doing that kind of strategy, what you want to do is, you want to pressure early, you want to stop him from getting that level 3 DK, because then you're going to be in trouble at tier 2. For a tier 2 push. And what you do is when you hit tier 3, you pick up the knights. You obviously want to get a workshop. Some people put up an Arcane Sanctum. I'm not a huge fan of that. Just because, ooh, like a priest or a sorceress. It's like, hey, free mana or experience for you. I'm not a fan of that, but some people are. So it depends on preference, once again. And it also depends on if you have enough wood. Because if you don't have enough wood, don't do it. So then you want to creep your Mountain King to level 3 as quickly as possible. And then what you do is you want to push him once you get a bunch of knights and hopefully get enough unit kills in the battle to get a decent advantage. Focus fire the fiends as much as possible. Ignore the A-bombs as much as possible as well, because those aren't very likely to die. What else? Get a staff. That's a huge important point because you should be able to staff out 2 units, and hopefully it's 2 knights. You don't want to use a staff on a bunch of useless footies. So once you staff out the 2 knights and you've gotten a few fiend kills, you've basically gained out a huge advantage because you haven't really lost anything important and he has. So then what you do is you try and contain him as much as possible. You can risk putting up the expo at that point, but once again, that's preference. You can sort of do a break upkeep and try and contain you in your base as much as possible, or you can try and get a creep jack and then force him to TP and then set up the expo. Those are sort of your 2 main options. And if you do the break upkeep options, what you do is you just, you go around and creep. And then you sort of want to pick a fight away from his base, as far away from his base as possible. And then what you do is you fight out the battle, and if he does actually stay to fight it, you should be able to gain enough advantage with unit kills to either force him to retreat or force him to town portal, or if he town portals right away, that's still 350 gold to you. So then you should be able to set up an expo. But the important point is you do want to actually creep while you're outside of your base. You don't want to be just doing nothing and, trying to chase down a couple random creep camps and try and creep jack them from there. I mean, that could be a waste of time. So what you do is you creep up the nearest camps and then you scout out with like a flying machine or 2. And then when you find them, you go, hey, I don't want you creeping anymore. And then you contain him in his base. And what you do is you basically convert sort of a tier 2 advantage with the couple fiend kills to tier 3 advantage, where you actually have, your knights and stuff, and you actually have a bigger army. And then what it comes down to is fighting off his, what will be like an 80 food push. And you can basically set up an expo. Hopefully you can set it up early enough to actually be effective. Otherwise, if you don't set it up early enough, and you set it up right as your gold mine's expired, you really haven't gained any advantage whatsoever. You've actually lost a little bit of your advantage because you're spending a lot of money that you could be spending on units to fend off their 80 food push. And then what you do macro-wise is you basically use that flying machine to sit in their base and go, okay, here's what units I see popping out. Here's what is likely to show up. Here's what he's doing before the battle. And if I need to buy time to counter what he has, and I have the money, that's what I'll do. Otherwise, you want to just call as many militia as possible and hope you win. So that's the basics of that kind of matchup. I'm not a fan of the breaker type thing, and you expo tier 2, or you fast expo and go breakers. Just because if you've actually seen a breaker take on a fiend one-on-one, it's really sad and pathetic, because the breaker actually comes close to losing. It will win all the time, but it's pretty close and it's pretty bad, especially because you can't coil your breakers. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't like breakers against Undead. So that's that, I suppose. And I'm going to end this audio off here. I believe my next audio is going to be a live one. I've sort of set up a match against someone. It'll be fun. I think. I don't know, it should be fun. We shall see, though. So this is Orange, signing out.